The First Minister's admitted not enough's being done in Scotland to tackle climate change. John Swinney told an invited audience at the Botanic Gardens in Glasgow that the Scottish Government could and should be doing better on reducing planet-warming greenhouse gas emissions. But environmental groups say his speech lacked promises of action and that the time for discussion's over. Our environment correspondent Kevin Keane reports.
It is an issue campaigners have been shouting about for years, but progress in tackling climate change and its impacts has been slow, and last year ministers were forced to scrap most of their targets for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. So today, an invited audience, largely of green groups, were told by the First Minister that he's listening to them.
The collective energy, wisdom and enthusiasm in this room is what has delivered good, and it is also what can deliver better. My approach to government has always been collaboration, which is why I want this to be the start of an ongoing conversation with a focus on action and on delivery.
The trouble is, many are frustrated that the policies, in their view, aren't matching the words. Tree planting budgets have been slashed, meaning less carbon is being stored. And money for nature restoration was raided to fund local government pay settlements.
First Minister, doesn't the evidence suggest that actually tackling climate change is very much not one of your priorities?
Obviously, I'm going to take a different view to that, Kevin, but of course we're involved in a debate and discussed about these things. The Scottish Government has faced in the last 3 years intense fiscal pressures as a consequence of rampant inflation. And as a consequence of that, we've had to take some decisions to live within our resources, and that's been challenging.
The focus on climate change here was warmly welcomed, however, with lots of buts.
There was lots of welcome rhetoric from the First Minister today, but we've been here before and warm words don't cut emissions.
It was great that he sees nature at the heart of any climate solution, but it was really disappointing he didn't even mention agriculture.
We're rewiring the country, and with it our relationship with energy and resources. Achieving change with people and not to them is something this academic agrees the First Minister must prioritise.
I did find it inspiring. I think the thing that I found really reflective was the First Minister placing people at the heart of climate policy, because I think that is first and foremost the most fundamental, most important thing.
Tackling climate change is always going to require tough choices. Environmentalists say now is the time to make them. Kevin Keane reporting, Scotland, Glasgow. Environmentalists say now is the time to make them. Kevin Keane reporting, Scotland, Glasgow.
Well, the fierce wind in Orkney is perfect for creating renewable energy. Ironically, those same cold winds, though, are also responsible for island residents having some of the highest energy bills in the UK. New wind farms are under discussion this week, including in one island where the developer's promising support with electricity costs, as David Delday reports.
Well, this turbine on the outskirts of Kirkbill may seem fairly big to people here at the moment, but it would be completely dwarfed by those proposed in other developments across Orkney at the moment. In the island of Adey to the north of here, Alloa-based Green Power is hoping to put up 5 turbines, each 180 metres tall. They would be amongst the largest onshore wind turbines in the UK. Now, Orkney actually already has 500 smaller domestic wind turbines. It also has a number of medium-sized turbines owned by community development trusts, and they already use some of the income generated to offset people's energy bills. But Green Power is the first larger company to offer something similar, and it's saying it will offer substantial discounts on electricity bills if its wind farm in Adey gets the go-ahead. And then tomorrow the spotlight will turn to Orkney Islands Council's community wind farm plans. The authority believes that the best way for the islands to prosper from the abundant wind resource is to take on the building and running of 3 separate community wind farms, which they believe could turn a profit of up to £6 million per year. Critics argue that they shouldn't be dabbling in commercial activities and should instead be focused on running services. It's taken 7 years to get the plans to this stage. Tomorrow, councillors will be asked to decide whether to proceed with 2 out of the 3